Okay, may I open the floor for questions? Sanket, please, please go ahead.
Mr. Kutia, I have a couple of questions. This is Sanket Deshpande here. I work for Fortress Infrastructure Advisory Services, and where we are consultants to various municipal corporations on the development plans and so. Recently, we also started advising them on what are some of the initiatives they can have for their municipal schools. So one of the initiative was we suggested them that you can get benefit of the ICT in school scheme, which is a centrally sponsored scheme. But the problem here is that probably the scheme moves from the state government at the operational level. And while we were suggesting this strategy for MCGM, I mean, look forward to your thoughts on how a municipal corporation, which is having the secondary schools, because for municipal corporations, generally primary education is the focus criteria. And some of them also have secondary schools. So how do they take benefit of the ICT in school scheme? Otherwise, because I mean, recently we had 2,500 schools coming out from Maharashtra, which are going to various districts. But in this, how do the particular municipal corporation get use of this scheme? That is the query.
Municipal schools can avail of the scheme. It's permissible. The only thing they have
80s probably when Mr. Manmohan Singh was, or in early 90s. And then recently also there was certain news about Indian education services. This I was coming to the issue which was raised on the problem on the educators, that probably we don't have any course on education administrator as such. NIPA has certain courses, but that is restricted to the people who are already there into the education. So do you have any plans on something like this?
Education administration, I think the need will grow. As I mentioned that once you have many private educational institutions, you will also like health management. We didn't have any program, but now many management institutes have started offering health management because there are large private sector hospitals which need people who train people who need how to manage them. Similar thing will happen when large private educational institutions or institutional complexes come up. So hopefully some universities, they will start, in fact some private universities also are there which are thinking of innovative courses. So this is a kind of market demand which will generate this. NUPA was doing it only for limited purpose of catering to within government demand. But what you are raising is a very valid point, and we will need many more of these educational administrators.
Thank you.
This is a question from the healthcare sector. All the reforms that have been so far been done, they are in the global context of education. For the healthcare sector, I believe, and I require clarity, that when you've said that foreign investment can come in, apparently this is not applicable for the healthcare sector, for medical colleges and nursing colleges.
Health education?
In health education, sir.
Right now it's in a different sector, but I suppose similar, once this starts, there will be kind of
so the request is that much as everybody else is getting a lot of boost from the reforms in the education sector, the healthcare sector somehow is getting left behind in this, in which actually really needs a huge influx of attention. And the other thing you mentioned was commercialization of education. And therein lies my questions are that when you're attracting or you want participation by the private sector, no matter what platform that we come from, munafa sabhi log dekhte hain, sir. So how will you address that? When you're saying that the Supreme Court judgment says very clearly commercialization of educational institutions don't take place, and there is this huge gap which is approximately, from the numbers that you've given, it's about 47 to 50% across the board. Then what was the incentive for the private sector to come in?
The private sector incentive, I would say, is not, say many times, even in the United States of America, if you look at the universities, most of the universities are non-profit universities. They don't really, what they do is they make money, but they invest it to grow. That itself is a big satisfaction. I think it's not only to make huge profit and siphon it away, and that basically the purpose of the point of the Supreme Court judgment is that it should not be taken away from the education sector and used somewhere else, because this is education is a noble sector where we need to. So to that extent, I think I think even without the commercialization, it should be possible for the private sector to be comfortable, because the private sector would employ some workforce if they are properly paid and taken care. I think only thing is the stark profit motive to take away money from this sector should not be there. That is the purpose of the Supreme Court judgment. But even without that, I think private sector would find it comfortable to work in the education sector, because right now also there are a lot of throughout the world, if you see, there are very few universities or educational institutions which are giving dividend to their shareholders. So it is one.
If that be the case, why should there be a plethora of capital ventures coming into education field, ready to invest money?
No, but there are allied activities in the education sector which are not core education, which can be catered to. For example, let us say that you are providing physical infrastructure for an educational institution on a rental basis. Okay, you can make a profit out of that. That is not prohibited, because that is not the core educational activity, isn't it? But in the core educational activity, so similarly you are providing, let us say, the canteen in a university, or transport services and all that. They are not educational services, and around education there would be so many other allied activities.
So, are there any more questions from the audience? So, if there are none, I would like to take the privilege of finally announcing the closure of the summit. But before we do that, we would like to do the final official formality of handing out the token of appreciation to all the panelists out here. And thanks again to all of you for sharing the time with us, and particularly to Mr. Ghuntia. May I request Sheena to kindly facilitate the memento, and request Dr. Ravi Gupta to please hand over the mementos. Dr. Shabnam Singh. Major Kali. Ashish. Thank you, Daman. And last but not least, Mr. Ghuntia. Sir, thanks a lot again.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks to all of